Om Shanti, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to your spiritual vaccine hour. I'm Sister Jenna. Hope the day's been going pretty smooth for you. Today for me, again, was full, but I'm so happy. We're finally getting our meditation room done. And we have this wonderful contractor, Marco, that came today, and it's just been so sweet. And I'm mentioning him because I just want to keep giving him blessings for the space to be finished. We haven't been able to go in our special meditation room for quite a while now because every time there'd be a rain, then the roof was leaking again, and then we would fix it, then the roof was fixed, and then it would start to leak again, then we would fix the roof again, and then it was like, you got to fix the whole roof. I go, oh no, we're not going to fix that whole roof. And it was like, let me just keep trying again. And so finally the roof is fixed and I can't wait. And when it's finished, I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to show you our meditation room. I used to love to wake up in the mornings and go there. I used to go there 3:30, 3 o'clock in the morning and just sit with Baba in remembrance. And that's where I would get so many of my downloads. So many of my downloads would come at that particular time. The morning time is the best time for the soul to rejuvenate, to recalibrate, re-energize, and to return. And to return to a deeper sense of itself and a deeper longing, to be that fullness that the soul really has inside of it. Because the soul is actually originally and eternally full and complete. But because we've gone through so many of life experiences and we have really held on to experiences that haven't always been the best. They haven't given us a lot of joy. They haven't made us feel like we were soaring, right? We've been sort of like stuck on some old thinking, and you've been following the shows. You know that just about all of our programs, not just me, but if you tune into every Brahma Kumari program, it'll always take you back to, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What do you need? And once we can figure out what's going on in our minds, we'll be okay. It's because we're not paying attention all the time to what these thoughts are saying that it's taking us so long to feel re-energized, to feel the return back to me, back to source, to feel rebooted, recalibrated, to feel ourselves. There was a painting that I came across. It was a self-taught artist, wonderful young lady, and she had this image of a woman in a cage, and her hand was outside of the cage, and it was holding a key. And I asked her, what does this painting mean? And she said, well, she has the key to get out of the prison, but she won't use it. And I think many of us are in that position. We have the key. The key is soul awareness and God awareness, but we don't always use that key. You have the doorknob, and then you've got the key, and both you need to put one in, turn it to open it up. And we need soul awareness and God awareness to turn ourselves up and open ourselves up so that we can be pretty deeply connected to who we are and why we're here. And what happens again and again is that we get so caught up on being outside of our own door. We're so externalized that we keep focusing on what happened, who did what to me, or what shouldn't have happened, or look at what this one have. I want some of what they've got, and then all that jealousy starts. We always talk a lot around here. We are so busy. One of the beautiful things about our community here, we don't have any time to gossip, to talk about anyone or anything, because just about every moment of our lives is used for service. And I mean that. And even if we get, 2 hours, 3 hours in the day, we would call it like, the lounging time, or maybe not doing much. There are messages to respond to, there are phone calls, or sometimes I'll just sit and just be. Like, I literally just sit and just do nothing. And I'll just look out through the window and I'll observe what thoughts I'm having. But then I'll connect to Baba, to the Supreme Energy. Today's Monday meditation, and I wanted us to just focus on the depths of this connection to God, to Source, to Allah, Jehovah, Khuda, Bhagwan. You ever wonder why so many different names have been attached to this Supreme Energy? Because of geography and language. It's only natural. But I've literally seen people fight and argue because of this. You know, if I don't say Christ, then they say, well, you're a heathen. If I don't say Krishna, then they go, oh, then who is your God? Who's your deity? And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm a soul, a child of God, and I come from the Supreme Energy. And it's not always so, as simple as it is, it's not so easy to accept. Because the connection between you, the self, and your deeper link and long-term relationship with God, which is an intimate affair. It's not a religious affair. It's not about a public venue. It's not about shouting on the mountaintop how much you love God and ring bells. It's a very intimate and private matter as to how you, the soul, which is an energy of light, connects to God, who I've come to understand is also light, but the supreme light. And why I call it the supreme light, and why in the Brahma Kumaris it's identified as light, it's because when the energy of love and purity and peace is unlimited, and it has reached a very, very high volume of energy where it's just permeating everywhere, then there's light. And so light means there is this feeling, this energy of peace, of love, of purity, of truth, of energy. And it's just all illuminating all around you. And there's just light around you. And you can always know when someone has a deep relationship with God. They'll be kind, they'll be generous, they'll be gentle, yet very forceful or powerful in their gentility. They'll be very pure at heart. They'll be very loving. They'll be very peaceful. There'll be a kind of a playfulness about them. They'll be very wise. You know, the list is endless. And you can have the proof, oh, this one has definitely felt God and experienced God. And whenever I meet folks like that, I want them to be my friend. And I value them so much, don't even ask. Because when you are walking embodiment of God's qualities and specialities, it can't be hidden. Someone's going to see it. And someone's going to feel that. So let's do our meditation. Today will be a whole day on your link with the Supreme Energy and also the relationships that we can have with the Divine, with the Supreme. And so I'd like you to really take the next 45 minutes to really be in this contemplative state of what's my relationship like with the Divine? What do I need to do? How do I rekindle it? How do I deepen the intimacy of my connection between I, the soul, and God, the living being of light, to make it my own? Take a deep breath. Exhale. Let's go to Baba, the Supreme Light.
Sitting quietly, allowing the body to be comfortable and relaxed. I can feel the tension in my legs arms, my back, my shoulders, my neck, my face dissolve. The awareness of the body melts into the distance. I focus my thoughts on I, the being of light. In this awareness of I, the soul, with the power of my mind, I can travel beyond the limits of my physical senses. My senses supply information of the physical dimension, but the power of my mind reaches far beyond the limits of matter. The power of my mind transcends the limits of time, of distance, of the physical universe. I enter another dimension. One of light, of silence. I find myself in a space of silence. A world of light stretching into infinity. A place where I can see no walls, surrounded by light. Here, in the element of light, my natural element, I too, the being of light, sparkle. This is where I belong. This is my home. I recognize this place. I had forgotten it. And now I have rediscovered it. It feels comfortable and very familiar. This is my home, the world of light, the land of silence, of peace. From this dimension, I can look down see the blue pearl, the jewel, planet Earth, slowly spinning down below. I see how precious and how fragile it is. It has been my home for a long, long time. But now, in my original home, the world of light, I realize that beautiful planet is actually the stage. It provides a wonderful stage where I can play my part, where I interact with my global family, where I share responsibility with all my brothers and sisters. But that is the stage. And this, the world of silence, is my home. I have returned home. I have come home again. And I stay in the world of light, quietly, comfortably, recharging, replenishing my own store of light, of silence. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, welcome back. So, imagine you're just sitting in the comfort of your own home or with friends, and the energy of the divine comes knocking on the door of your mind.
Coming to the awareness of the it.
And basically, this energy of love comes knocking on the door of your mind in the comfort of your own home. You start to feel like something is waking you up. Like there is like the cracking of an egg, and something is opening up and you're getting woke. And you start to sense, and it's a subtle experience, it's very private, certain relationships that have been challenging in this lifetime. We can't speak about the past. Certain things will happen to us and we have no idea why it's happening. It doesn't make any sense in this life. But let's just say that the energy of the divine, God, this light, this supreme light, knocks on the beautiful door of your mind, cracks you open, and you really start to see internally stuff that perhaps you weren't addressing. Maybe it just wasn't the time, or maybe it's been with you for so long you weren't even aware of it. Or maybe it's just at that moment, you being so open and transparent, the energy is ready to be healed or to be empowered. One of the relationships, especially from the East, there's a connection to God as mother and father. And so what if, as we're going through life, we're kind of wondering, I wish I had this kind of a relationship with my mother. I wish my mother was like this, or I wish that it would be like this, that I would get the feeling of being nurtured as a child, or maybe you as a mother feel it's very hard to nurture your child, or to really play the role of a mother fully. Because what's the role of a mother? They're compassionate, they're nurturing, they're caring, they make sacrifices, they look out for your well-being. You know, they are always the strong one to keep things going in the house. They bring everybody together. So what if you didn't have a mother like that? And what if watching on television it's not enough? And maybe you can go through your whole life blaming the way your life has turned out because of the way your mother was. And intelligence will tell you, you believe and you know she did the best she could with what she had. But it doesn't dispute the fact that your spirit yearns for the experience of what a mother who would nurture your soul would feel like. And that's when we turn to the energy of the divine. We turn to Baba, we turn to God and say, could you be my mother? And begin to allow the soul to experience, how would I, the soul, feel when I begin to relate to God, this energy of light, as my mother? To use that interpretation of that supreme being, that supreme soul, in the form of my mother. So let's go into a meditation with the divine, healing all of these old wounds that we might be traveling with, maybe in this incarnation or in one of the past, and just see if my connection from soul to soul with God being my mother can heal a particular part within. Take a deep breath, and let's go to the divine as my mother.
Sitting quietly, the body comfortable, relaxed, so that there are no distractions. I turn inwards. I am the eternal being of light. I am a soul. Even my relationship with my own body exists for just a short space of time. I existed before this body took shape. I will continue to exist long after this body perishes. So my relationship with this precious vehicle, this instrument, this body, in reality is only a temporary connection. I can distance myself from the consciousness of this body. And when I do this, there's a profound realization that in terms of the roles that I have with all other human beings, those roles, those relationships are truly very fragile. They are momentary. They ebb and flow. One moment, I have contact with a certain individual, and the next moment, the connection changes. The only relationship that I have with every human being, which is perpetual, is the relationship of brotherhood. In the awareness of eternity, I can see my eternal connection with every human being. We are brothers. We are the children of one. I consciously move away from the sphere of influence of human beings so that I can explore the reality of my eternal connection with one, with the Supreme. I step back into the home of light, the land of silence, and I come to the Supreme. This is my eternal relationship, the relationship of the Spirit. Now aware of the power of this eternal connection, I can feel God's love. God's love is the love of gentleness. God's love is the love of acceptance. I am not afraid of God. I have no questions in my mind about my connection with God. I simply feel the sweetness and the magnetism of God's love. God's love draws me to itself and accepts me without condition, without judgment. God accepts me as I am, in the condition that I am in now. And I realize that God is my supreme mother. I am God's child, and my mother accepts me unconditionally.
Om Shanti. As we continue on our journey for our Monday meditation, diving into our intimate relationship with God, the Divine, the Supreme, whatever's the language that you choose to feel connected, safe, a very intimate link. I don't know about you, but I feel like this pandemic and protest and job insecurity and economic insecurity and distrust with political leaders and hate and health issues, it just feels like, where's God? And where do I feel like God, my Father, is with me to support me, to help? And it's not that God's not available, it's just that I don't think we're thinking of God enough for the energy of that light, for the light of that energy to reveal the wonder in this vibration. That the more we are connected, the more this light can begin to restore things. Now, I'm not saying that it's not working. It is working. It's just that sometimes we turn off the light even after we've turned it on. And sometimes we are remembering God with a lot of love. We're remembering as our Father who's giving us an unlimited inheritance. And then we forget and we get connected to the brother. So let's just say that, just like the relationship with God is my mother. Now what about God as my Father? Today it's funny, I was sorting out a particular drawer that was broken today, and Santosh had fixed it, and then there were some papers on the ground. And I was sorting through those papers and just getting a lot of things together. The meditation room is getting fixed, putting the room together, getting the garage, everything in order that we need to as we slowly begin to reopen. And I came across a little card that was sent to me from my family in Florida. It was from my father's funeral. And on the back of the card, it was a beautiful saying. It's like, don't cry for me. I'm in a more peaceful place. I'm no more suffering. I'm not in any this and that. And it was just so endearing to just think about the soul that played the role of my father. And yesterday, I was sharing how he taught me how to, I think it was here, or it might have been in my morning class, but how he taught me how to fish, how to drive a car fast, how to do hunting, how to change a tire, how to fix a carburetor, all these things that he used to do with me, which I had not known until I grew up, of how bonding of an experience that was to go fishing with your father, to go hunting, to go racing on the racetrack with your dad, and to be around the cars and to do things together, to play cricket together. We used to do that. I played ping pong and table tennis. It was an endearing relationship, and yet I can't necessarily say I felt completely close or bonded to my father. It was like my dad was my dad, and that was it. But you sometimes feel like, isn't there something more to a dad? Like, don't they give you much more? I think there's always this feeling that you get more, especially if you mistakenly see it on television. What a dad should be like full times, right? So let's now go to Baba here in this relationship of Baba being my father, and see how I, the soul, can connect to this divine energy as the father of the soul, right? The father of the soul, not of the body, but the father of the soul. And how does that feel when I connect to Baba as my father? And what is the inheritance that I claim? Take a deep breath, and let's now go back into this relationship with the divine as my father.
Look at another aspect of the Supreme. In the awareness of I, the eternal soul, in the presence of the Supreme Being, the being of light, I appreciate the eternal relationship that I have with God. In all other connections, there has been giving and taking. There have been fluctuations. And in this relationship, there is only receiving. In the presence of God, I can feel the ocean just simply giving, and I, the child, receiving from my Father. The ocean of love, pouring out the love, and I, the child, absorbing this love. My Father has an inheritance for me. The inheritance of joy. My Father wants my happiness. The only desire that my Father has is to see me happy. And in the presence of God, I claim the property of happiness is my birthright, and the power of this happiness enables me to transcend all trace of sorrow, and I keep this joy within.
Monday meditations are so special for me. Just those moments of pausing and going a little deeper than I would when I'm in action. And I hope you're feeling the same. Please feel free to give us a heart or a thumbs up or a frowny, sad face, whatever you'd like. But I know that for me, just the fact that we're just focusing on the relationship with God today, the connection to God, the intimacy, the feeling of just having the soul connected to the divine with no middle person, no religious doctrine, no ritual, no dogma, just you, the living soul, and Baba. Feels like a perfect day for me. I have mentioned to you in the past that many years ago I first went to India and I had this very deep experience between I, the soul, and Baba and God. And on one occasion of one of my many visits, I was going up on the stage to be in front of Baba's energy and to commune with, to connect with the sister who is the trance messenger and really have this moment of intimacy. And I remembered so specifically, and I know even though these roses aren't yellow, one of the gifts that was presented to me when I had this meeting with Baba, it's a soul-to-soul thing, was Baba gave me a yellow rose. And that yellow rose had the most divine fragrance you could ever smell. And to this day, when I send yellow roses to my friends, it means that this is an eternal relationship for me. This is a very divine and sacred relationship to me because I remembered when I received a yellow rose from Baba. And for me, what the yellow rose symbolizes is friendship. And I have had, my spiritual journey has been one that Baba and I have just been friends. I think one of the reasons why my relationship with God is a natural one for me, but he's my friend, and I tell everything to my friend, and I feel open and trust with my friend, and I'm okay with God as my friend. Kuda dost, they say it in certain other languages. So let's try to see what would it be like if I just developed this beautiful relationship with Baba as my friend. Let's take a deep breath. And just imagine that you are allowing this light to fill you up in the context that this is my friend. So all the friendships that you've had in the past, maybe they've betrayed you. Maybe they didn't show up the way you wanted them to show up. Maybe you feel in your friendship you give more than they give to you. Now, Baba says, I could be your friend. I'm willing to be your best friend. Let's have this connection and this time with Baba as a best friend.
Relationships with God, not only during meditation, but in fact, it's important to experience the union, the connection with God through my entire day. And perhaps the relationship that lends itself most easily to this experience is that of my connection with God as my eternal friend. Sitting quietly, I let my mind focus on the Supreme, the infinitesimal being of light, the being of love. God the Supreme, my mother, my father, my teacher, and also my friend. I know that God is always available, is always my support. God is constant, unchangeable, always here, always ready to respond. Just with one thought, I can make contact with this eternal friend. My eternal friend is the one who always cares for me, the one who constantly supports me. And with the power of this friendship, I have courage and hope for the future. Alone, there was a sense of insecurity, a fear of the dark forces that prevail. But with the support of this eternal friendship, there is no fear, no darkness, no questions, no doubts. My friend is the Almighty. My friend is the being of love. God's light and might, God's love are forever and ever available. I enjoy the warmth, the companionship, and the security of my eternal friend.
this title kept coming in my mind. Kudados. Kudados. God is my kudados, right, Santosh? Is that accurate?
Kuda is God.
Right. And dos is friends. So kudados in Hindi, yes? And that kept coming to my mind while we were having this. This is my kudados, Baba's my kudados. And that's been my dost. That's been my favorite relationship with Baba. And maybe that's why I don't get into a lot of trouble, because we're always friends. And that's what friends do. Friends do naughty things together and they get into trouble. Anyway, we're coming to our close for our Monday meditation, and I hope today has kind of, grounded you for the week to feel this deep intimacy between you, the soul, and God. We talk so much about, political leaders. We talk about people who hate. We talk about people who have transitioned. We talk about money. We talk about elections, which we need to. We talk about people and each other. But we don't talk a lot about God anymore. I don't hear people really just having a very natural, intimate sharing about their love for Kudados, their love for God and what it means to them, and how beautiful that relationship is when the soul is feeling Baba's love and Baba's light. And I've studied so much of various religions and theology, and every tradition has told us to love, and every religion kept pointing upwards beyond our current way of thinking, and it's always been about, if you walk with me, speak with me, look at me, think of me, you will see miracles. And I believe that. And so the more we practice to have positive thoughts and good feelings and good wishes for ourselves, for each other, then we can feel the amplification of God's light and love work through us. And sometimes you're just going to do really great. And sometimes you're going to feel really off. And even though it's okay, the Spirit says, but that's not where you're going. You're going towards luminosity. You're going towards your elevated stage. You're going towards completion. You're going towards such a level of freedom that you would have figured out why you're here. So the feeling is that Baba sent us here to enjoy, but not to give suffering in my enjoyment. So Baba's my friend. Reminds me, I am. I am everything that is pure, divine, spiritual. So thank you for joining us for today's spiritual vaccine, and I'd like us to hold a few moments of healing vibrations to our sweet member of the community online, Janvi, who's going to be going through a little bit of a fix-up. She's going to take the shop in for treatment, and we just want her to know that we're holding Baba's light vibrations over her, around her, for her, and that we're with her. Om Shanti. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow. And again, if anything comes up in your heart, in your mind, that you think I can do fair justice to, in terms of a topic or a speaker, just send us a note at meditationmuseum@gmail.com, and just remember to keep us in your hearts, in your mind, and look out for us too as we do the same for you. And just be well, be safe, and be a well-wisher. Use your thought energy to just do your well-wishing, and stay happy. Good night.